Hi guys, and welcome to Total Technik. In today's video we're going to be showing you how to remove the rear boot sidewall panel. That's this entire panel from the sidewall of the Avant version of the Audi A6, S6 or RS6. This is for the C5 platform. So let's take a look at what's involved. Okay, so removing the rear sidewall panels on the Avant is fairly involved. There's quite a bit we've got to strip down before we can actually get these removed from the car, unfortunately. First of all, you've got to remove the luggage cover that sits on the rear of your rear seats. That's simple enough. And then you've actually got to remove the rear seat bench, as we've already done in this car, as you can see. Once your rear seat bench is out of the way, you've got to remove the two side bolsters. That's the side bolsters on the rear seats that come up the sides there. Once you've done that, you've actually got to detach the seat belt at the base, right down here. And then we're going to remove the surround for the seatbelt guide, which is up on the top there as well. And then once we've got all of that done, what we can do is actually then move back into the boot area, and we're going to remove the chrome lock cover at the rear of the car there, and also the lashing hooks that are in the corners of the boot panels. And then once we've got all that removed, we've got a couple more screws and things to look at, but that's the point that we can actually get this removed. Now I've already filmed videos on all of those parts for you, so if there's any of those bits that you're unsure of, just scroll down. We'll add links for you in the correct order of all the parts there you've got to remove to get to this stage. Have a look through those videos, and if you're unsure of, check them out. Use those links, and then once you're at this stage, come back and we can actually look at getting this removed completely from the car. So next up, it doesn't matter which side you're working on, whether it's the left or the right side, both sides are like you've got one of these little doors in the centre, so just open that up, lift that up, get that out of the way. We're not going to need that, that's a separate piece, so get that out of the way and we'll move on. Okay, so now I've got a couple of screws in the side panels that we need to get removed before these are going to come out. This is where your luggage cover sits. You see there's a screw on the base, so obviously there's one on either side. So what you want to do, whichever side you're working on, get that screw out of the way. Like so, and then we'll move on to the next screw. So next, if you come to the kind of the base of the D pillar right here, this is where the end of your luggage cover hooks into, right at the back of your boot. You see we've got another screw in the centre there. So again, on the side that you're working on, we need to get that out of the way like so. So with those couple of screws removed, it's now just kind of clips that are holding this thing in. So what we're going to do is we're going to give this a bit of a pull forward, and you'll see as we go. You can, if you kind of slightly flex the panel, you can kind of work out for yourself where the clips are located. But that's all that's holding it in now is clips. One important thing to point out is the side of the car that I'm working on is the side that's got the 12-volt socket in the middle of it. On the other side of the car, obviously it doesn't have this, it's only got this on one side. So this is the slightly harder of the two sides to remove that I'm going to be showing you. Both sides are exactly the same process. This one's slightly harder because it's got this. So when we come to this stage, what we need to do is kind of bend it forward enough that we can get our hands down to this and disconnect that before we can obviously remove the panel entirely from the car. So bear that in mind, we're working on the slightly harder side. If you're working on the other side, you'll be able to skip that step and it'll be a little bit easier. So let's get on with it. Another important thing to point out before we get this removed is you might be wondering, do you have to remove this this side panel right here? The answer is no, you don't need to remove anything from the floor, because the way that these work is actually the clips are in the top edge, and so you pull the top edge forward and then the whole thing can be lifted out from the bottom. So yes, you are correct that the bottom of this plastic trim is tucked in behind the side of your wall panels, but you don't your floor panels, but you do not need to remove the floor panels to get these removed. So there's a couple of clips there that we're focusing on. The two main clips that are holding this in, they're the usual kind of diamond metal, diamond shaped clips that are used in a lot of interior on the Audis. And from memory we've got one approximately somewhere in there, just behind the 12-volt, and then there's another one somewhere around there as well. Those are the main two that are going to be holding this in. And so what you want to do is grab in behind, kind of fairly close, wherever you can get a hold is usually around there. It's about as close as you can get to the clip. And then we're going to give that a good tug. It's quite hard to get these out, to be honest. You've got to kind of manhandle them a little bit to pop it out. But again, like we were saying before, especially if you work on the side it's got the 12 volt, you don't want to be ripping this thing out of the car because you're likely to break it. So rather than pull it, hang on it, and then all of a sudden it'll rip and the whole thing will rip out of the car and you might damage things, you might snap this trim. Short, sharp tugs. Remember the clips that hold this in, they're less than 1 inch long, so you really only need to move this thing 1 inch to get it out. So rather than hang on it and then end up pulling it 3 foot across the full width of the boot, just short, sharp tugs just to release the clips that you're working on. Like I said, they're pretty tough. You've got to manhandle it a bit, so let's give it a try. Goes. It wasn't too bad. This one's been out before. If they've never been out before, they can be a little bit tighter than that. That wasn't too bad actually. That's going to give us the access that we need to disconnect the 12 volt connector, so we'll do that quickly next. So for the 12 volt connector, you see we've got these little ears. The bottom one is kind of tucked in a little bit, so I'm just going to get that with a flathead screwdriver. Yeah, that's it. Squeeze it and just draw that back. Almost there. There it comes. So that's that connector removed. So now we can get this section, this sidewall panel completely removed from the car. Okay, so you've got to remember your seat belt's still attached here. So what you want to do at this stage, there it goes. We've actually disconnected the seat belt from the base of the chassis. Just going to feed that through the hole in the top there, like so. And as you can see, that is the boot wall panel completely removed from the car and ready to go.